What is my case worth? All attorneys who handle personal injury questions are faced with this question when they first meet a client, because it's on every client's mind. How much money will I get? What is my case worth? Unfortunately, attorneys cannot answer that question without taking everything into consideration. So you must understand there are three factors that go into what is my case worth. The first factor is how much insurance is there? In New York, for example, the minimum amount of insurance a car needs to carry is $25,000. So if unfortunately you're struck by a vehicle that only has a $25,000 insurance policy, regardless of the severity of your injury, you will only recover $25,000. If you're struck by a taxi, in New York they only carry $100,000 worth of insurance. So again, that is all you can recover. Aside from insurance, how much insurance there is, the question of liability arises. Liability means who's at fault. A simple example is if you're crossing the street, not with the light, and you're struck by a car, the court may decide liability is 50-50. It was 50% your fault, 50% the car's fault. You can then recover only 50% of your damages. If it's a slip and fall, and there's a hole in the sidewalk, the question is, why didn't you see that hole? It was so large and in the middle of the sidewalk. You may be found 30% or 50% responsible. Your percentage of liability gets deducted from your damages, from your award. And the third and most important final factor to consider is what is the extent of your injury. When you first come to see a lawyer a week, 2 weeks, or a month after your accident, assuming you've recently had surgery on your arm or your leg or some other part of your body, how will you feel in 6 months? Will you be back at work in a year from now? Will you ever be able to go back to work? How will you heal and recover? Unfortunately, a short period of time, whether a month or 2 months after your accident, most people do not know how fully or not they will recover. In New York, it's the permanency of the injury, the permanent effects of that injury, whether it causes pain and suffering, whether it requires you to seek medical care and attention in the future, whether you can go back to work or not. Those are the factors that determine the value of your case and how much your case is worth. So it often takes quite some time to determine the value of your case.